And today, as you know, we're going to be discussing social media and content development. And by the end of today's call, participants will be able to understand the how-tos of social media, including how to set up accounts and create posts using Facebook and Twitter accounts. You'll be able to understand best practices related to social media and list items that can be used for content on your social media accounts as well. And then, of course, the content that we need to be posting on our website or that we should be posting on our website. And then list those items that can be included in your chapter's newsletter. So we're going to go right ahead and dive in. And first, today we're going to learn how to create an account on Facebook and post information, not so much on a personal account, but for a chapter-based Facebook account. So let me jump out of here. Give me one moment. And we're going to pull up Facebook. So for those of you that are on the web portion of the program, you do see my screen now. We have the Facebook homepage. So we're going to start as if we don't have an account already. And I know most of us have an account, not everybody, which is fine. But what I would suggest, because you are going to be using this for chapter business, is that you create an email specifically for this account or for your chapter business related. So for example, maybe you want to use a Gmail account. Maybe it's ANFP@gmail.com. And then take that email address and use it for your social media accounts. That way, when officers, social media managers for the chapter change, at least you'll have one generic email address that it's tied to rather than your personal one, because I'm pretty sure you don't want to be giving out your personal email for this kind of thing. So let's go ahead and we're going to complete this information here on the screen. And for those of you that are on the phone portion, I'm just basically typing in my first name, last name, my email account, and I'm actually going to be using, just for today's test purposes, my ANFP email account. So those of you that go on later to create your account, know that it's very simple to do. You create just using the basic information. Okay. Those of you on the web portion, I'm expecting you to keep this a secret, my birth date, okay? Okay, so I've completed all of the information, first name, last name, email account, password, and birthday. It also asks your gender. And then you hit the button, Create Account. So you'll see here, you have your welcome page. It says, Welcome to Facebook, Abigail. This you can complete if you want to, but again, because we're going to likely be using a generic email account that isn't tied to one person, you don't necessarily have to do this. So your next step is you're going to go over to the left-hand side of the screen, and there's a menu where it says Pages. Go ahead and click on Pages. Here, again, we have another blank screen. This is a new account, so we haven't created anything. Next, you're going to go over to the right-hand side of the screen where it says Create Page and click on this. Now, this is where you're going to select company, organization, or institution. Here, it's going to ask you to choose a category. And for us, we're going to go ahead and use a nonprofit organization, as ANFP is nonprofit. Company name, now this is where you're going to go ahead and put your chapter name. So today I'll use Illinois since National is based in Illinois, ANFP chapter, and then simply click Get Started. And take a moment. Okay, well mine's giving me wanting to confirm my identity, but I'm going to go ahead and hit Continue. And we're going to choose a file to upload, because that's what it's prompting me to do. So you're going to want to find a photo that you want to use. I've pulled together images from past meetings since I'm not going to be using this as a personal account. And I'm going to go ahead and use this picture here with ANFP staff. And I'm currently uploading the photo. It's taking a moment. And you're going to follow the prompts as given where it says to continue uploading. Oh, okay. Wow, this was new. So of course this is proving to be difficult right now, even though I went through a test last week for this. It's not letting me log in. So I'm going to go ahead and try it one more time for purposes of testing. Let's see if it's going to let me log in. No, it's not. So I do apologize. So bear with me for one moment. I do have a backup solution. Okay, I apologize for that. So those of you, again, on the web portion of the program, this is actually a test page that I created for my own personal account. So if you were to go in and create a Facebook account, again, you're going to want to use a generic email and not use your personal email to create your chapter page. But you'll see that once you've created your page, you are given the option to upload your profile picture, as you see I've done. And you can change the picture anytime you want. So why don't we just go ahead and go through that. We're going to go ahead and upload a photo. So again, this is going to depend on where you save your pictures on your computer. You can pick any one of your photos. Maybe you have one from a recent meeting, or maybe you want to put the ANFP logo up there. Whatever you choose is fine. We just want to keep it professional looking and, of course, appropriate. So we'll change this one. And if you give it a minute, you'll see it uploaded. And this is Miss Debbie McDonald, for those of you that know her. She is our immediate past chair. And here you can kind of edit this picture a little bit, drag it around, center it, just so it looks the best when you save it. And we're saving that. And this is taking its sweet time, so I do apologize. And again, feel free to use photos that you like, and you'll see it automatically update as you do here. And you can also choose to use a background photo, as the one you see here. We have a group shot of some of our wonderful volunteers at the volunteer luncheon last year. Same thing as you would to update your profile picture. You would hit the little camera icon, change the cover, and you would choose from either the photos that you've already uploaded to Facebook through this page, or if you wanted to upload a new one, and of course you can reposition, or if you wanted to remove it completely. So similar to updating your profile picture. Oops. Okay, so that's kind of how you get started. Some other things in terms of this page, and it would depend on what you selected as a company. So here it says company, but again, we'd be choosing nonprofit, but they work in similar ways. So first down here, you're going to see about. This is where you can send a message if you have a follower that you want to get in touch with directly, a member, maybe a non-member that you see is following your page that you wanted to reach out to them, and you can simply direct message them here. Let me know when, something like that, okay? So you can direct message anybody there depending on who follows you. Here, we're going to add our website. This is a great way to ensure that those that are visiting your Facebook page are also going to gain access to that website. So here, we're going to type in our ANFP website. We'll go IL, again, just for testing purposes. And let's go ahead and hit save. I do apologize. Mine is being super slow today for some reason. Letting me, this page has the website. Okay. Well, now it's not letting me. Just checking one thing really quickly. Okay. So back to page, but this is typically where you'd be able to add a website. Oh, here it is. It appears now. So those of you on the web portion, we added our Illinois website. That'll take us directly to our Illinois ANFP chapter website. So that's important to do there. In some cases with the nonprofit organization page, you're also able to write a description. So you can describe your chapter, maybe how long it's been around, how many years of service, how many members you have, just a brief overall description of the chapter so any new members or prospective members can get a sense of what your chapter is about. Now at the top left-hand corner of the page, you're going to see another menu bar. So we're going to go through this because a lot of this is actually very useful in managing your Facebook chapter Facebook account. Here, again, this is where you're going to keep track of your messages. Any direct messages you've sent or you've received will pop up in this inbox. So this is actually kind of handy, again, to reach out to prospective members, maybe to vendors, things like that. But this may be familiar for those of you that have your own personal Facebook account as well. And of course, notifications. Anything that you've posted will appear here, so kind of gives you a history of what you've posted. If you have any likes, it'll list who liked the page. Any kind of comments and shares, this can all be found here. Now, as this page isn't truly active, none of this actually does appear. But again, this can be really useful information when you're making a chapter page. Same with Insights. Now, Insights is actually a very handy tool for those of you that are really relying on Facebook to communicate more and more with your members, which I find is starting to be a trend. Especially with our millennial members, this is really the primary way for them to communicate. So I do suggest taking advantage of this. And when you create your page and you get on here, go ahead and take the tour. We're not going to go through this page by page, but basically what Facebook Insights is analytical information about who likes your page, what they're commenting on, what they're sharing, the frequency that they're jumping on your page. It really helps you expand your reach. There may be potential members that come about from this that you may not have thought of. So it's an extremely useful tool. I really encourage you to go through this step by step and learn to explore this area a little bit better, a little bit more. So here it kind of breaks it down here, the last 7 days, if you needed to change it to the last 28 days. Really a nice, clean overview of who your followers are. Next, we have the publishing tools. This, again, will give you your published posts, anything that you've posted recently. If you needed to search a post, maybe you wanted to use a lot of the same language from a post earlier, you could certainly do that. So fall meeting or something like that, you could search in there. Another handy tool in publishing tools is your scheduled posts. Obviously, with this page being inactive, we don't have any scheduled posts. But it is very easy to do. So if I wanted to schedule a post for next week, I'm going to go ahead and use earlier post, and I'm going to, let's see, edit this post. I'm sorry. We're going to go to publish, if I can find this one. Now this one is a little different. Let's see if we can do it here. Okay, so you can here, you could backdate this if you want. Let's see if it's going to let me do the other one. Doesn't look like it is. I do apologize again. But if you were to create, you want to publish a post, you could do this here. Let's see, we're going to test post. Okay, then you go to publish. Here's where you can schedule. If you needed to schedule this next week, say if you were going to be out of town or you know you were going to have time in your schedule to post this, you could go ahead and publish this ahead of time. And you just hit schedule, depending on what date you need it. And then it would schedule here, it confirms scheduled for Wednesday, May 31st at 2:26. So that's fairly simple to do, nice handy tool. Again, take some time to explore what we have, what Facebook has available in terms of managing your page. Really helps you to expand to different audiences and really understand them a lot better. Again, I do apologize for earlier when I wasn't able to log in with a brand new page, but certainly if you're going through this process and setting up a new account as a chapter Facebook page, definitely give me a call if you're having difficulty or have questions. I'm fairly familiar with Facebook, though it might not have seemed this afternoon, and I'd be happy to walk you through any of that. But are there any questions right now at this time? Anybody have questions? No?
Are there any posts that are available like on ANFP national website that we would be able to kind of use to share through our state chapter sites? I mean, every once in a while when I see one pop up on the national site, I like to try to share it into our group, but I was wondering if you had any like archived ones or anything like that.
We don't have any archived ones, but you could, if you were to follow, so let's go and if we wanted to follow ANFP, let's see. So you would follow them. You could go directly to their page, and you can go back on their timeline. You can go back as far as they've started posting, and you can share anything you like from there. So it's not, I mean, it's archived, but in the sense that you would have to do some digging depending on what you were looking for. But if you see here, we're scrolling through everything. Let's see, this is back from April 24th. All you have to do is hit share, and it's automatically going to pop up in your news feed as long as you're logged in with the chapter or the email address that's associated with your chapter page. Does that make sense? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so very simple. And if you wanted to follow maybe another chapter that, you know, you've worked closely with in the past, I know some of our chapters do joint meetings. You know, you can certainly follow them if they have a Facebook page and share that information. And that goes not just with ANFP, but any kind of industry news, which we're going to talk about a little bit. And that's a great format, or I'm sorry, great way to share content and have that a regularly scheduled thing. I mean, you kind of see here with ANFP, you know, we do a Motivation Monday. We also post our CDM of the month. So we have regular content, and you are more than welcome to share that with your own audience if you don't think that they might be following national ANFP. Any questions on the phones again? And I have a question here. It says, can more than one person help with the page? Yes. So as long as they have the login information, yes, they can most certainly help. However, I will caution you that you probably don't want to have one or two people, more than one or two people at a time, managing your social media page. You know, you don't want just anyone having that kind of login information. You do want it to be controlled. You want the information posted to be consistent and appropriate, and you know, planned ahead, and you really understand what's going out on your page. So yes, more than one person, but again, just be cautious as to who has that login information and what they're using it for. Any other questions with Facebook? Okay. Well, again, for those of you that don't yet have a chapter Facebook page, I would sincerely encourage you to get one. You know, there's a lot of data out there on these millennials and our up-and-coming members, and they really are using social media to get in touch with companies. You know, a lot of them, so many use it for job searches. It's not just personal for them. It really expands beyond their personal lives into their professional lives. So definitely a recommendation to look into getting a Facebook account for your chapter if you do not already. Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to jump over to Twitter. And here again, I really hope this works for you guys. When I was testing it last week, I didn't seem to have a problem, but of course you know how that goes. So we're going to go ahead and give Twitter a whirl. Now, for those of you on the phone, again, I'm at the Twitter homepage. It's asking me to sign up, so I'm going to put in my full name again. And keep your fingers crossed this one works. Okay, here we go. Sign up for Twitter. Okay, so this is going to prompt you for some things too in terms of your Twitter account. It's really just asking you to personalize your Twitter based on what you've seen and confirming your sign up. And here it's going to ask you for a phone number. Now, I'm going to put in my mobile number because it is going to send me a text for a verification code. And when I get that, and my verification code just popped on my phone. So we're going to go ahead and put that in. In 1 second here. Okay. So it does give that to you in text. So you will have to have your cell phone available soon. And you're going to choose your name here. Now, again, we're going to use IL for Illinois, ANFP. And again, it says you can change it later. So if somebody's just getting this account set up for the first time, you know, maybe you want to think of something a little bit more creative. But again, you can go in and change that at a different time. Okay, so that was basically all it is. Next, you're going to want to go ahead and kind of explore. Here, you can put some topics you're interested in. They do give you suggested accounts that you can follow. So I'm going to go ahead and put in food service. Okay, that's added to my categories, and nutrition. We'll put that in there. Okay, and then you can always come back and add other topics that perhaps you would like to see in your feed. But for now, we're going to just stick with nutrition and food service and go ahead and hit continue. This, if you wanted to find your friends, but again, we're trying to keep this as a professional account. So I wouldn't suggest that you tie any other email addresses to this account. Again, you want to use your chapter's email addresses specifically created for those social media accounts. So you can import contacts, but I don't recommend it. I'm going to go ahead and hit no thanks. And then here, see, here is where they've listed some suggestions for me. If I wanted to follow the USDA team nutrition, fitness nutrition, some of these you may wish to follow. They might be good information to retweet or share on your Facebook account. But for today, I'm actually not going to do that just for the purposes of our testing. And you can, it's up to you, whoever manages this account, if you want to turn on your notifications. So anytime somebody retweets, anytime somebody mentions you in a post, that notification will pop up on your browser. Now, to me, I would find that incredibly distracting to have going on throughout my day. So I'm going to click not now, because I don't want those notifications popping up all day. And most of us probably don't, as we have many other things we need to be doing. So here's going to give you a little tutorial. It's going to tell you welcome. And here you're actually going to need to go in and you'll have to update your email address or confirm your email address. And again, for testing purposes, I'm not going to do that, but it is a very simple email you would receive in your account, and you simply confirm that the account was created, and that's your information. So, but today, so we're just going to try to tweet something really quick. What's happening? This is a test again. Test tweet. Again, just in this box. Now, you are limited, you'll see here, to 130 characters. So that's something to be mindful of with Twitter. These are really just short little bite-sized bits. You know, maybe it's, instead of test tweet, maybe it's save the date, fall meeting, October 31st. Simple enough. You know, now you're just getting the word out. Quick save the date. Those followers are going to see that, and you're going to go ahead and hit tweet. Simple enough. Okay? Also, what you can do if you like, you can always add photos. You can add a GIF. If you wanted to do a poll, maybe you're asking, would you prefer a fall or spring meeting? This is where your followers can decide and interact with you, which I think is a great tool to have. Very simple. Depending on how long you want that poll out there, you have up to 7 days. So we're going to give them 7 days to answer that poll on Twitter. You go ahead and tweet that, and there you go. Okay, and your followers would be able to go in there and answer that poll based on their preference. So that's fairly easy enough to tweet, is what you would call it. And let's see, in our moments, this is more related to anything national. You see the national news going on here. You could click on some of these links. Maybe this isn't the best one, but you could tweet it back from your account. Here you're going to share this moment. So maybe ANFP, if we were following ANFP, which why don't we go ahead and do that. Then you could retweet. So similar back to our Facebook. You can share on Facebook, and on Twitter you retweet anything, any other information that you want to pass along to your followers. And notifications, again, very similar to Facebook, where it kind of gives you a rundown of all of the notifications, who are your followers, what they've liked, what they've retweeted, if they've replied. That's all going to give you that comprehensive information right here. Again, it's going to give you some insight into who your followers really are, what they're retweeting. Maybe there's one thing they're retweeting over and over again. You know, that will allow you to understand that there's one particular thing that they like, or a few particular things that they like based on the retweets and the likes. Messages, again, you can do direct messaging through Twitter too, which is kind of nice, especially if you have some prospective or non-members that are following your account. Reach out to them directly. Okay, any questions here about Twitter? It's pretty simple. You know, again, we can always add a photo if we want to. We can upload our photos here. So we'll do another shot from the volunteer luncheon last year. And again, you can reposition it however you need it to. Oh, no, that's not letting me. Let's try that one more time. Okay, hopefully this one saves. No, it did not. So I apologize. I don't know why that's not working, but again, just like Facebook, you simply select the photo from wherever you have it saved on your computer and you would upload it. Any questions on that? And you see here, they do give you some suggestions as to who to follow. It could be based on maybe some of, you know, your likes. Anything to do with your chapter. We put in the nutrition and the food service field, so you could always search those again depending on who you'd like to follow for your chapter Twitter account. Any questions there? I know a lot of us don't use Twitter, so again, if you're going through the process and you're setting it up, maybe you're ready to send out your first tweet, you want to send out a link and share the link with your members, and you're struggling for whatever reason, definitely give me a call. I'm somewhat familiar with Twitter, but I'm happy to walk through it with you. Any questions? Let's see if we have any on chat. Okay, so we're asking how do we delete anything that's inappropriate? You as the account holder are able to delete posts. Same with ANFP. You know, we monitor that daily. And again, if somebody were to post something on your page, let's see if we can't log back in. So Facebook, and we'll delete an account, or I'm sorry, a post. But you as the owner should have all control over that. So let's see. Because nobody's posted on our page since it hasn't been published out there, but what you would do, say that somebody posted this particular photo that you see here, or a comment that you see, even if you go into your own personal Facebook account, you can delete that. Here it is, delete from page, so you would go ahead and delete that. Are you sure you want to delete that? Yes. So it's very simple, very user-friendly. And again, if you were to have any more questions as you're walking through that at any point, certainly let us know. Yes, and Ken, thank you for answering. Okay, any questions about either one of those? Okay, so those are usually the most popular of the social media platforms. So again, strongly recommend that you consider using one or the other, just maybe depending on what your own members use. And you could certainly poll them, via email or maybe at your next meeting. Ask them what they'd prefer to use if you don't already have either one or both of these type of accounts set up. Okay, we're going to keep on moving along then. So now that you have the basic understanding of how to set up social media accounts and how they work, there's just a few best practices that we really want to keep in mind. And we've kind of gone over these, so I won't spend a lot of time on this. As I mentioned earlier, you want to plan ahead. You really want to figure out how you're going to use social media for your chapter. Is it strictly for chapter updates? Are you going to incorporate, the ANFP national news? Are you going to post monthly photos? A lot of times, I don't know if some of you are familiar with, a lot of celebrities will use what they call, not even celebrities, but they call them TBTs or Throwback Thursdays, and they often post old photos of themselves. So maybe that's something that your chapter would like to do. That's always fun to see old photos that maybe you've archived from meetings in the past. But again, plan ahead, make it regular, and same goes for, being consistent. Whichever platform you choose to use, it could be Facebook, Twitter, maybe some of you like Instagram instead. Just be sure that whatever you're doing is consistent. I would recommend that you're posting something at least once every 2 weeks. And this really helps to keep your members engaged and interested, maybe even excited about some things. If you're maybe doing a countdown till your fall meeting, or as details become available about your events or your meetings, make sure you're posting those. But again, be consistent. We don't want to have lots of flurry of activity for 1 week and then not anything again for the next 6 months. And of course, share. We want to share any of links, articles, chapter information. Again, our information from ANFP. If there's blogs, put those links on your Facebook page. Share that information with your members. There might not be another way for them to get this kind of information. So this is a great way to do that and inform them of anything new and industry related. And of course, we want to make sure that we're posting some fun things that are visually appealing, such as pictures, images, links to videos. Oftentimes our videos, those of you familiar with Facebook, they automatically play, which I guess can be good or bad, depending on what it is. But, those are nice to see pop up in the news feed every once in a while. Those of you familiar with infographics, this is also great visuals to post on either your Facebook page, your Twitter account, even the Instagrams. But a lot of times our millennial members, they like more of that visual stimulation rather than having to read through something. And reach out to your members. This doesn't just have to be a one-way conversation. Ask open-ended questions to get them engaged. It's a really great way to connect with your members, also to connect with those members that are, those prospective members that you might not have another opportunity otherwise. Take the time to understand and listen to their replies if you are asking them a question, and use that knowledge if possible. Use those responses that they've given you and apply that to your chapter practices if you can at all, depending on what it is. And of course, we want to inform, saving the date about meetings, chapter events. Perhaps you do a scholarship. This is a great way to post this kind of information. Any kind of other opportunities or news related to your field. Again, keep it related to ANFP, keep it clean, keep it professional, make sure that it's relevant. And of course, when you're posting your own comments, make sure to proofread those. Make sure that they're accurate and error-free. So those are just some quick best practices related to social media. And does anybody have any questions about those at this time? No? Okay. So once you've got your social media account set up, you're going to want to start posting content. Start with something easy. Start with those chapter meetings and events, just like we talked about. This is a great way to have consistent, reliable, and useful information on your account and keep those members engaged and interested. And even if the meeting's 6 months away, post to save the date. And then you could provide details as they become available. So it builds a little bit of excitement around that. You might also want to publish your board meeting dates. We do encourage all of our members, whether or not they're board members or not, to attend those board meetings. helps them give some insight into how the chapters run and exposure to more governance than maybe they haven't had in the past. So that one's pretty simple. Another great way, again, to keep your members engaged is likes, sharing links from industry organizations, sharing links from ANFP. Perhaps some of your members are sharing links, and those will appear right on your news feeds, either through Facebook or Twitter if they happen to tag you or the chapter page. So that's a great way to share information back and forth. Also, of course, the chapter website. As you saw, we added our chapter website. We added that link so we can have our members not only follow us on Facebook, but if we needed to add more detailed and elaborate information, or if we needed to make sure that they got the registration form, we'll direct it right through our chapter website, right through our social media accounts. So that's a great way to tie those two together. And of course, ask questions. You might want to even think about having some sort of contest to do, kind of like we do with our Member Appreciation Week. We post a question to our members, maybe asking them for a topic they would like presented at a meeting. You know, those who get the most likes or the most shares will win that contest. But then you also have a topic ready for your next meeting. So it's kind of a win-win there. You're getting your members engaged. They're getting something that they want. Their voices are being heard. And, you know, you're getting a great topic for your meeting. So that's a simple enough one to do and keeps those members, again, interested in following your page. And of course, you know, once you read through your Facebook Insights, the analytics there, that information, this could be really interesting information to share. You know, similar to how we do our volunteer satisfaction survey, we'd like to share that information. You guys give us your feedback and we let you know how the majority of our volunteers feel about that. That can be really useful information for them also. So don't be afraid to publish some of that information, maybe not all of it, but it can be really interesting for them to know, to see what their sort of feedback is with our social media accounts. Okay, we're going to go ahead and keep moving on just for time's sake. You know, we know social media, Facebook and Twitter, they're really great ways for quick posts or reminders, sharing information really easily. But again, our chapter website is where we want to put much more of our detailed and our elaborate information or any of our documents. So in addition to posting those kinds of things, there's really some other great ways to keep our members informed and engaged using the website. For starters, start with a chapter profile or history. This piece is always informative to not only your prospective members, but also your current members that maybe weren't part of the chapter up until a year or two ago. So those newer members will really get a better understanding of what your chapter is all about. Some of those things you might want to include are the charter date. Many of our chapters are, you know, 40, 50 years plus. So that's really interesting information. You know, when you had your first meeting, how you've continued to grow. Certainly the number of your current members. You may want to break that down into membership type as well. What are your annual events? Make sure they get those on the calendar. Maybe it's a fall meeting. Maybe it's an annual summer picnic. You know, maybe you have a wine and cheese tasting every year. Put those in there. Also, any awards that your chapters receive, those are certainly noteworthy, along with any members that have played a key role in advocacy. Maybe they're nationally recognized in the food service and nutrition fields. You know, any chapters that have award winners, that's a great thing to include in your history or your profile. Let them know how your chapter is involved in advocacy. Do they do a day at the Capitol? How do they advocate for that credential? And of course, you want to include some of your upcoming chapter goals, maybe where your chapter wants to be in the next 5 years. And then, of course, you know, any other interesting little tidbits about your chapter are always a great thing to include in your profile. They really get a comprehensive understanding of what your chapter is about and who they are. And then, of course, you want to add your images and photos to the website as well. And we all know those can be submitted through the ANFP chapter portal. And some other things in addition to the chapter profile is considering some short profiles or features, maybe even your board members as they come on board, especially since we have a change of volunteer year here coming up. Maybe a nice write-up of each of your board members, letting your members know a little bit more about them. I know some of you already include this in the newsletter. I do think it's great. It's always nice to have it living on the website if you can, and of course we're happy to post that. Anything that is unique about your chapter, or maybe they've done recently, some special projects, send us that information. We're happy to post that on there under chapter news. That way when you have potential members or vendors, go to your website. That information is all right there for them. And then, of course, if you have social media links, send us those, and we'll get those hooked up to your website. So it's reciprocal between your Facebook page as well as the chapter website. It goes both ways. And then, of course, newsletters, which most of our chapters are very, very good about sending us that information, and we get that posted. So any questions on how to spruce up your website? And again, feel free to send us this information. We're happy to post almost anything. Let's see if we have any questions here. We have one from Jay. Is leadership change? Can we change owners of the account as responsibilities change? Yes. So certainly, again, this goes back to setting up your account using a more generic email address with as little personal information as you can, since you will be passing this on. Either year to year or maybe every 2 years. And again, we only want to have at least maybe only 2 to 3 people on those accounts who have that login information. Okay, let's keep moving on here. And speaking of newsletters, we'll go through this kind of quickly, as I know many of you are really good about this, I have to say, and kudos to all those chapters that are regularly publishing their newsletters. I do think this is a great way to keep our members informed and up to date. Just a few basics here in formats. Of course they want to be visually appealing. They want to entice the reader. They should be well organized, clean, and engaging. We want to make it really easy for them to read. So I would maybe suggest using it in breaking your information up into sections. You can do this by using headlines. You can separate it by images, just to give them, a way to make that flow a little bit easier. Always images and graphics, infographics. That makes it more visually appealing, them likely to sit down and want to read that. Just one word of caution here, if the chapter is going to use images from the internet or an originator, you want to make sure you have the correct permissions. If you don't have those correct permissions, you can face a fine for using an image directly from the internet that you did not have permission for. So just be cautious of that. Of course, use your chapter's logo. If you don't have this logo, reach out to me and I'm happy to send you that. And also just keep your formatting consistent. For those of you that have a consistent format that you use each time, this is wonderful. For those of you that may be struggling with that, Microsoft Office has actually very many free templates. You can Google that and download a template that you like and use that each time, and keep it all consistent, and it looks very visually appealing. As far as the content goes, of course we want to start always with a president update to the members, let them know what's going on. We want to include our treasurer's report also if that's available. You can include other updates from other officers. Maybe your education chair has something about upcoming meetings. If your travel chair has any updates in regards to maybe travel reimbursement, or if anybody's traveling to the state or regional or national meetings and they want to give an update to members. If you have an impact or a legislative spokesperson and they have some current activity, this is a great place to put that information and update everybody within the newsletter. Also, include something, what's new. Maybe there was something new that took place that maybe you did post on Facebook, maybe you didn't post on Facebook, but again, not everybody uses Facebook or Twitter. So you do want to include your kind of what's been going on in the chapter as part of the newsletter. And also, depending on the frequency of your newsletter, you might want to consider including sponsor ads or job postings. And of course, any industry news that you come across that's newsworthy, whether it's state-related or national, this is a great place to put this as well. Any important deadlines, if you have a registration deadline coming up, make sure that's included in your newsletter. And here's a highlight. Maybe there's a member that did something, great for their community recently. Put that in there. Highlight those volunteers and give them the kudos and recognition that they deserve. Something else which I always think is a great idea if you're ever struggling for newsletter content is a call to action. Ask your members to submit something. Maybe there's something they would like to see in the newsletter. Ask them to submit that for you and make your newsletter editor's job just a little bit easier that way. So again, a lot of this might seem repetitive. You know, you're posting the same thing in Facebook, you're posting the same thing in Twitter and in the newsletter, but again, not all of our members are communicating the same way. So it is important that we're communicating all of the same information, but maybe just a couple different avenues in the way we're communicating it. We don't want them to be so bogged down with emails, you know, but know that they have a reliable source to go to if they want to know what's going on in the chapter, or if they want to read the latest President's Report. The newsletter is a great way to do that. But again, more of those bite-sized pieces of information or updates should really be going on your social media accounts. And when it's all said and done, you know, either you're posting to Facebook, you're posting to Twitter, you're including it in the newsletter, we want to proofread, proofread, proofread. Newsletter editors, they are ultimately responsible for editing this and proofing the newsletter, but that same goes for your social media managers, who's ever doing that. Again, pass it around the newsletter or maybe the post and just have another set of eyes look on it too. A couple people proofreading never hurts. So that's about all I have for today. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Anything we covered? No, anything about social media? Let's see if we have any chat questions. So Georgia had a website in the past. How do we open it? I will get in contact with you after the program, and I will help you walk through that. Does anybody have any other questions? No? Okay. Well, again, one second here. We do have one more question. The email address. Yes, the email address, again, you probably want, I'm recommending that each of your chapters, it depends. So, again, the email address should be a generic email address. If it's listed on the national page, that's fine. I'm just recommending that you don't use your business or your personal email addresses. So if you have an email address specifically dedicated to chapter business, you can certainly use that one. But again, I'm just recommending that no personal, no business emails be attached to your chapter-related business. So if you have one, great. You can use that. You don't have to go out and create a new one. Any other questions? Okay, and you know, everybody I think has my number by now, my email address. Certainly feel free to reach out to me after this program, and I'm happy to help you with any questions. Just a few important dates before we go. June 1st, as everybody knows, the chapter offices are due in the chapter portal. Even if you have officers continuing on in the same role, if they're continuing on until October or if they're continuing on until next spring, they need to be submitted in the portal once again. That just has something to do with our database. Unfortunately, we can't override that. And of course, we have a July 15th deadline coming up for the remainder of our rebate requirements. If you're having a fall meeting, that date needs to be submitted by July 15th. All chapters are required to file a 990. That e-receipt needs to be in our hands no later than July 15th. The biannual chapter achievement report, that was formerly known as the State Achievement Award, that is due also on July 15th, and that is available to download via the chapter portal. And then your established finance committee, which consists of no less than 2 board members and 2 non-board members. We need a listing of that here at National by July 15th as well. If you have any questions about that, certainly let me know. There's a lot of information out there for the new rebate requirements, as well as the volunteer handbook coming out shortly that will give you a full checklist of that, which is also out on ANFP Connect. And that's all we have for today. So I hope everybody saves the date for Tuesday, June 20th. We will have a new board member orientation and training. So we're really hoping that anybody that's new to ANFP board, chapter boards will join us. We're going to go over the ANFP chapter portal, the volunteer handbook, really all of the need-to-know kind of stuff to be a successful board member. But thank you all again for joining today, and we will talk to you soon. Take care.